2, 3, 4, 5, Big John G, 5 favorite.
What's up, nerds and nerdettes and wee little nerdlings all? It's your buddy Big John G, the two-gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming. So it's been a while since I did a Big John G's 5 favorite, and I had something on my mind. So here we go. What I wanted to do is my 5 favorite games from 2018. No, not just my favorite games in 2018. My 5 favorite games that I spent money on. Not games that were given to me for reviews. These are games that I pulled my own money out of my wallet and I put that down to get the game. So which 5 made the list? I'll see you down the table and me and Foo will fill you in.
Shut up and sit down.
Thank you for meeting me down here in the table. Yes, it's been a while since I did one of my Big Johnny G's 5 favorite. And as I was saying, I had this idea floating around in my head, and also the question had come up to me recently, so the two of them kind of melded together, and I thought, this is a sign, it's time. I've got to do this. So the 5 favorite games that I spent money on, not games that were sent to me for review, one game was a gift, but the amount of money I spent on everything after getting that, I'm counting it as my money, because it was a lot of my money. But yeah, so this is games that I have actually went out, one way or another, dug into my wallet, pulled out some cash, and forked it over. And these are 5 games that I'm really happy I did that for. So, as is the normal way that we're supposed to do these things, to build up anticipation, we will start at the bottom with number 5. Right, Foo? He knows. As I was saying, this is number 5. That game, recently I did a nice big video for. No, it hasn't been part of the showcase, not yet anyway. And I'm looking forward to doing another big video for this game, because I know I'm going to be playing it again real soon. And that's 4 Against Darkness. Now, 4 Against Darkness is by Ganesha Games and Create Space. Actually, maybe I should be, you think on the other side? The other side. Foo knows. Gotta listen to Foo. 4 Against Darkness. As I was saying, that's by Ganesha Games and Create Space. This is a one-player, solitary, DM-less role-playing game in a very Gygaxian, old-school style that is very familiar to old grognards like me. This game can accommodate 4 players in a very light RPG style. Maybe even 5 players if one wants to be the DM light, narrator heavy kind of role. You could do that, but it really does shine as a solo 1-player game. It's listed as ages 8 and up, and I find that completely acceptable from a personal point of view, because that's when I started playing basic Dungeons and Dragons. And this has a very strong feel to that. And if you haven't seen any of my other videos on this game, it also has a feel like another old early 80s RPG called Tunnels and Trolls. And both these games are very well done. Basic D&D and Tunnels and Trolls. So the idea of kind of melding some of the things that worked best from both games and throwing it in with a sort of pick your own path and endless adventure thing where you're picking what charts you get to pick from. That's kind of what I'm trying to explain here, and it really does make it work as a DM-less system. So my number 5 game, 4 Against Darkness, it has a bunch of stuff that is print on demand, and it has most, though not everything yet, that's available print on demand, you can also get in a hardcover physical copy as well. Either one you get, this is definitely worth it. If you are an old RPG fan like me and you're really wishing you could get the old gang back together, but adult life in the real world doesn't make it happen as easily as it used to, this game is a great alternative, and it's going to give you that feel. I guarantee you it's going to give you as much of that feel that you could possibly get with it being a solitary game. So you're going to miss, the at-the-table jokes and camaraderie and stuff, but other than that, the game experience itself, yeah, you're going to find it fun and familiar. So that's my number 5 for Against Darkness. What do you think, Foo? Got it. The number 4 game on my list is by Gale Force 9, who's been, I think, just knocking it out of the park. One game after another, they've been doing a great job, a top-notch job, and they are so thematic. Every game of theirs that I have either seen or that I own just drips of theme. It's fantastic. If you like really getting into the nitty gritty of feeling like you're in the whatever it is, whether it's Doctor Who, or whether it's Firefly, or whether it's Dungeons and Dragons, you are gonna feel like you're in that world. And the one specifically I'm talking about, Doctor Who, Time of the Daleks. So this is a 2 to 4 player game. It's listed as suitable for 14 and up. Me personally, legally don't go by what I'm saying, but I would easily say, 10 and up myself. But for legal purposes, the company has it listed as 14 and up. And the game could run you about 2 hours. Now, I've talked about this game a few times. It's had its own little specials here, so to speak. And it's true. I really can't say much more than I've already said. If you haven't seen any of those videos, I'll try to put it all in a little nutshell here for you. If you're a fan of Doctor Who, whether you're a fan of New Who, whether you're a fan of Classic Who, or whether you're a true Whovian and just love it all, this game totally is made for you. You don't have to be a Who fan to like this game. Not all the 20-sided warriors at my table are, but they all love this game. But the ones that are Who fans, the Whovians and the Nuvians, love this. It has the feel like nothing else I've ever seen. Primarily because of the way it handles regeneration. Is everyone shifts a doctor. So if whoever dies, if one of the players dies, because we know the doctor doesn't die. If one of the players dies, then everyone just shifts their characters forward because the doctor is regenerating. So everyone gets to play a new doctor, and they get to keep whatever companions they had. Just like the show. The doctor regenerates, and whoever was with him at the time of his death are the new companions, are the companions for the new doctor. The new companions for the new doctor, because they're new to him, because he's a new doctor, but they're not new because they've been with the doctor before. Some of them several times before, and it keeps getting timey-wimey, my friends. But besides that, every mission that you're doing in the game, that you're going on, the stories are ripped. They're taken exactly from the shows. There are episodes from the first Doctor, like the meddling monk, that you're going to have to deal with this situation, all the way, up to the Weeping Angels. So everything you've seen in the show, whether you've watched William Hartnell's first Doctor, or whether you've watched Capaldi, is what they had up to when the game came out. They have a bunch of expansions coming out. I'm imagining the last expansion, they already have 4? Yeah, they have 4 coming out right now, which is going to cover the rest of the Doctors, except for the War Doctor, John Hurt, and for Jodie Whittaker, the 15th Doctor. So I'm imagining, since they're doing 2 Doctors in a box, the other ones, that will be the fifth box, so it'll probably get announced later in the year. But this game feels like Doctor Who like nothing else, trust me. If you like Doctor Who, or you just like a really good dice set collection science fiction game, you're going to love Doctor Who, Time of the Daleks. My number 3 pick is by USAopoly. And this is a game that had beautiful release timing. You couldn't have made it any better, really. And that is Thanos Rising. There it is right there. Yeah, so Thanos Rising, 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up. I agree with that. Yeah, that's cool. Ages 10 and up. This will run you about 1 or 2 hours to play this game. Thanos Rising is another dice set collection game, and this is centered around the Infinity War. Each player is going to be choosing a team, so they're going to choose the team headquarters and the team leader, and then from that point on, they're going to be using the dice sets that they're going to be trying to collect to save or recruit other heroes. Or maybe they'll use them to fight some of Thanos' minions or his children. So what you're doing with the dice, you get this sort of bendable strategy going one way or another. And with enough players in the game, it's always of high importance to balance out each round, turn to turn. We found where some of the players are going to be going to recruit, while some of them are going to go fight. And then you switch it up so everyone's team keeps enlarging. Because every time your team enlarges, you're bringing new special abilities to your team. Like maybe one of them, I think Rocket, he has the ability to change a die face. Several of them do. And most of them are very specific to changing from this to that, instead of just changing it to any side. That would be chaos! The strategy then is who, with the dice you have right now, this also some of the heroes you're going to recruit will allow you to use extra dice in your pool. So the amount of dice I have now, I have a good chance of saving who, and out of those who's, which one of them is going to be like probably the best thing for me to do. I think someone that can switch a die face, someone that can add more dice. Every turn you're taking, you're re-strategizing, so to speak, because you have to, because everything can change before your turn comes back around. And meanwhile, Thanos is trying to, obviously get the Infinity Stones, and that's a separate board. And every time he gets one of them, he's getting one step closer to defeating you and gaining more power, and he can do more things to you and your heroes. And the game starts slow. It's kind of like a frog in a boiling pot. The game starts off, we're like, oh, this isn't so bad. I took out a General Outrider. I saved Bucky Barnes. I'm doing pretty good. It keeps ramping up because every turn, Thanos is potentially, almost always, getting one step closer to getting a stone. He has 5 steps to get each stone. And almost every turn, he's pretty much guaranteed that he's going to be getting 1, sometimes 2. So that speeds things up very fast. And next thing you know, what started off as, I can take a General Outrider, no problem. I can take Corvus Glaive, no problem. I can save Hulk, got it. Now all of a sudden, you're overwhelmed. And it happens so slowly, I actually say, it's really beautiful. It's like a well-written orchestra, the way the tension builds up in this game. So it's great for anyone that's a Marvel fan, of any age, obviously, regardless of the 10 and up. I guess you know your kids. Always remember that. I think I can handle this at 8, but like I said, I know. So I think this is definitely worthy that I spent the money on this. I'm very happy that I did. Thanos Rising, USAopoly. Hello, my friends. The number two game. Out of the top 5 of my favorite games I spent money on this past year. This is by Renegade Game Studios. I hadn't heard of this company before, and this is still currently the only game I have by them. I'm not even sure what else they do. I haven't looked it up because I'm having so much fun with this one. That is Lucidity, Six-Sided Nightmares. And it's another dice set collection game. They have been popular these last couple of years, actually. There's been a lot of them coming out. And most of them are pretty darn good. And the previous 2 and this one, I totally endorse as far as, if you want to have fun with a dice set collection game. So Lucidity, you are a dreamer. You are trying to steal power from the dream world. However, there are nightmares, and they're all around you. And they're trying to influence you, and they're trying to infect you to make them like them. A nightmare to be feared. Because once you're a nightmare, it's easier for them to make the others nightmares as well. You can win the game as a nightmare. Game's not over if you are. That's one of the really fun parts of it. Ask T-Bone. First game in, that's what he wanted to happen. It happened. And he had so much fun at that game. It's going to run you about 20 or 30 minutes to play this game. And the really nice thing about this game is it can play solo. And not only can it play solo, but it's a slightly different rule set. You're playing a different game solo than you would be if you were playing with other players. And I really appreciate that in, the way it's put into a game. Not enough games are like that. So many of them, if you play one player, you're basically just playing multiple cards, player mats or characters. And that doesn't make me feel like I'm playing solitary, in a way. You know what I mean? But this is one of the few games I have that actually changes it up to such a degree that it is a different game than if you're playing with another player or more. Lucidity is light horror, though some of the drawings in it you may want to check first before you show a younger player, because they are a little bit graphic. Again, as I said just before, and I'm going to say every time when kids are involved, that your kids, you know them better than I do, but check out the artwork first before you let the kids see it. The artwork on the Nightmare cards. Just check it out first. But other than that, this is a fun game, I think, for families, outside of what you think of the artwork, because the game mechanics is nothing... There's nothing intently evil or malicious about how the game plays. So it makes for a fun family game. It has a little bit of a take that aspect, which is always fun, but it doesn't overdo it too much. And there's a bit of push your luck. It's really kind of based heavily around push your luck. So that's always fun as well. So Lucidity, Six-Sided Nightmares. I'm really glad I bought that game. I know, you've been waiting so patiently, my friends, a lot more patiently than Foo has here, trying to sneak a look at my list here. But ain't gonna happen, Foo. Get back on your perch. All right, push your little fella. My number 1 game is sitting right behind me, because I always want it handy. Well, I do, but honestly, it's sitting behind me just because that's the way my shelving works. I shelve things by genre, by theme. So it just so happens to work out. Because my number 1 game, my friends, is Western Legends by Colossal Games. This is my number 1 game that I spent money on last year. I am so happy I did. This game came at a time where I had been trying to find a really great Western game. And I knew that for me personally, to be a great Western game, it was going to have to be open world sandbox game. Because it was going to have to give me and my friends, my players, the 20-sided warriors, everyone that watches the videos, it's going to have to show you or just give you right out the choice of how you want to live your life as a cowboy. As an old West person. Cowboys, we know terminology. We're going by Hollywood terminology here. That, you wanted to be a cowboy to some degree or another. But what did you want to do? Did you want to rob banks? Did you want to steal cattle? Did you want to raise cattle? Did you want to gamble? Did you want to be a marshal? There are so many questions, so many things you could do in the Old West, and this game delivers it all to you. Well, just about all. The expansion is just about to hit Kickstarter, and that opens up gambling and you can also rob the train. And I think they should also, I guess, bring in, even though this would make it feel way too much like grinding on WoW, but they should bring in being able to, be a trapper, bring in pelts and stuff like that. Yeah, I know it's grinding, but it is an actual part of a job that people did to stay alive and to feed themselves and to barter with in the Old West times. Beaver or a fox, whatever it was. Yeah, by today's standards, it's cruelty to animals and everything, and nobody is promoting that as a positive thing. But if you're playing a game that has to do with, life in the Old West, even if it is a little Hollywoodized, Trapper was a big part of it. I'd like to see that in maybe the second expansion. So Western Legends is going to give you a lot of fun. If you play 2 players, it adds in a 3rd player sort of AI drawer from the deck itself. It actually has its own deck at that point called the Man in Black. I mean, thematically, that's beautiful. It's perfect. You can't get much more thematically dramatic than that in a Western theme. A Man in Black, the mysterious Man in Black, who just sweeps into town. And the first time we played, I think it was me and Rob? I think it was me and Rob did a 2-player of it, and the Man in Black was hard to keep up with there. It's cracking my voice. It was so tough to keep up with that guy at some points. Or girl, it really doesn't matter. It could be either or. That's just the way we saw it at the time in that particular game moment. And it was a lot of fun. And as far as playing with big players, even though it's going to add time to the game, I think more players are better. 2 are fun. It's fun. You're going to enjoy it. I did. I will again. But I think the more players, the better. And that's mainly because the way the Wanted and the Lawman tracks work out, and with getting caught and going back out, robbing banks and stuff, we found out that the more players you have, the bigger variety that opens up, which just makes the game that much bigger, opens up the game thus. But you might want to, try it with any amount of players. I wish they'd make a 1-player option. I don't know if anyone's tried the Man in Black with a 1-player option. I haven't. I'll have to go online and see about that. Western Legends, if you like the Old West and you like board games, I don't understand why you wouldn't have fun with this game. Because I know that I am really proud. That's probably the game I'm most proud of. At least that I was able to think of off the top of my head. The game that I was most proud of for buying last year. Western Legends by Colossal Games. So, what do you think about that, fool? Speechless. All right, everyone, thank you so much for taking some time and checking us out here. I want to thank everyone for hitting us up on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. It's always very cool. Thank you so much for doing that. We have a Zazzle store, if you haven't heard already. I think everyone's heard already. We have a Zazzle store that has some, I think, and Foo thinks, some pretty interesting gaming nerdy t-shirts and hats and mugs and mouse pads and cooking apron, right? Yeah, cooking apron. So thank you for supporting that, and if you haven't supported it yet, go check it out. And yeah, that's right, Foo. I want to thank everyone for liking, for commenting, subscribing to us right here on YouTube. Thank you so much for sharing our videos. That's a great way just to pass the love that you have for us, helping us to get into the subscriber, because people won't subscribe to us if they don't know we're around. Every time you share our video, less people know we're here. It gives them the option. All right, so I'm your buddy Big Johnny G. This is Fu Manchu, and for Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming. We are